Bienvenue, and welcome to this live Q&A.
I like him not.
I have no idea what that was. If you heard that, that was actually Hamlet, Act 3, Track 4 from Big Finish Productions. That was brilliant. I like him not. Completely went against my sound engineering skills. This is why we need a George Blagden in our lives. George Blagden does all the sound tech on conversations. I do the video. Nikki does the producing. George does the sound. Hence why I am terrible at just everything. Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome. Welcome. Hi from Texas. Hi. People said there was someone from Korea and loads of places. We need a series 4. Why didn't they commission another series? There must be a lot more stories to tell. Yeah, a lot more stories to tell. But that's not why we're here, is it? Well, it is, sort of. I can answer that. Every journey has a start, a middle, and an end. How many numbers is that? That's 3. 3 seasons. And the fact that you want more, the fact that you want a 4th season, means that we did our job. Because better to leave the fans wanting more than wanting less. Hello from South Korea. Yes, South Korea. I knew there was some from France, lots of people from France. Who's one guest who you cannot manage to get onto the podcast? Vicky Murdoch. Straight in with those hard-hitting questions. Stuart Bowman. Sorry to say the truth, but Stuart Bowman, Bon Tom, will not be joining us at all for the podcast. That's the truth. Anyway, that was a good question. That was a good opener. I thought that might crop up, actually. I was prepared for it, but I wasn't prepared for it so soon. It's not a question, but thank you for honouring Versailles with the podcast, Monday vlahos. You're very welcome. Very welcome, Lady in Red. Bonsoir from Croatia. Hi, Croatia. Hello from France. How did you feel about some of the worst actions Philippe did, especially in season 1? Did he do bad things? Well, he did do bad things. We addressed that a bit on the podcast in season 1. Originally, Philippe was sort of put against Louis as like the bad brother. But Louis is really the bad brother, if you think about it. He's the one that's... he's almost a dictator. Psychopath. I believe Philippe was one of the people in the show that has the strongest moral compass, I think. He does some things that, for our audiences, for our time, are questionable. But I think at that time, he does everything pretty right, you know? Apart from being gay, at a time where gay people weren't allowed to be gay, he was, very much ahead of his time, modern, and created dance, opera, poetry, all the things that Louis stole from him. What do you think about Philippe's character, like his flaws? Philippe's flaws are that he is hot-tempered, and he is someone that enjoys sexual fornication a lot, and also likes a party. I never really had any issues with his flaws. The big thing that I had issues with as an actor was that he had PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, from being in war. And that was really tough to play because it is hard, and I haven't been to war. I'm of a generation where there is no war, so how do you put yourself in the situation of that, So yeah, that was always tricky to be able to navigate that. Also just the idea that we talk about it in the podcast, but we talk about the fact that I had to lose weight and just loads of stuff I think that was mismanaged by production. But look at us now. My favourite episode is when Louis has the dream that he's on stage and Philippe is laughing at him in the audience. You deliver that so well. That is the opening for season 2. And that was a whole day spent in this beautiful theatre outside of Paris. And it was just great because you just get to laugh and giggle. After a while, you end up losing your mind because you're just laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing. And the camera's on you, and George wasn't on stage because he was having his makeup done and stuff like that. So there was no one to sort of actually bounce off. But, the director, Thomas Van Sant, just kept asking us more. So, yeah, that was kind of fun. Long day, though. Laughing with no dialogue and just going, How did you feel while acting in the Versailles Palace? Amazing. It was great. A little bit like we didn't realise how lucky we were, It's a lot of that. We didn't realise how lucky we were. And then you go on to other jobs and you go, this isn't like Versailles. It's just amazing. And you just can't believe that it's real, Golden gates. The first thing you see are golden gates. That's tricky. Philippe is such a comforting character. Thank you. What actor would be a dream come true to work with? I would love to work with someone that's passed away, unfortunately, which would be Philip Seymour Hoffman. But that's sad. Did I keep any costume pieces or props? Yes, I did. I kept the shoes. There's that line with Philippe, and he says to Louis. Louis says, you've spent 50,000 on shoes. And Philippe says, well, you haven't seen the shoes. I kept the shoes, those shoes. They're now glorified doorstops in my house. There is a button somewhere, I think, where you can actually ask questions rather than me just missing. I probably miss loads. So I think it's this button. There's no questions yet on the questions button. So guys, if you can, go on to and actually type out proper questions in the question. There must be a question button on your side. I can see one here. There's no questions, yes. Anyone can watching these can send questions in. Please, come on. We all know how this works. It's 2024. Come on. Monsieur Colbert has been very important for the king, isn't it? Hello, Alex. Monsieur Colbert is very important to the king. Also played by the wonderful Steve Cumin, who's even more important. Oh, just dropped my cable. Plug that backpack in. How did you find the costumes help you become the character of Philippe? The costumes, they help so much. The heels means that you walk with a different posture. The coats were incredibly heavy, but they were sort of very much, and the wig changed the way that my face looked. And the minute the wig went on, and it was just the full package. So yeah, it's kind of, the costume changed everything. Everything. We walked in as Alex and Evan and George and Anna and Amira, and then we turned into these wonderful characters. It took a long time though. It took about like an hour and a half. How did you feel about having to wear the wig? I loved the wig. I thought the wig was the most important part of Philippe because up until then I didn't really believe that I was playing him. But then, they parted my hair and glued my hair together, and then the wig went on. And the wig was quite narrow and sort of made my face really long. I loved the wig. The wig was great. I ended up having 5 wigs throughout 3 seasons. I think George had 6. There was the war wig, really greasy and long and wet. There was the court wig, which is the beautiful curves. Also, there was a sex wig, which had sort of loose netting here, which meant that when you were having sex, mostly me with the Chevalier, it meant that you would actually put your hands here and it made it look real. We broke many sex wigs. The wig suited you so much. Thank you. So were they implying that was Philippe and Louis' real hair? If that's true, I wish we'd seen some scenes of maintaining the hair brushing. Oh yeah, no, they were implying that it was, yeah. It wasn't until much, much later, still within Louis' time, where it became up and sort of, they were wigs that they put on, these sort of curly, sort of powdered wigs. But yeah, no, these actually were our hair, not wigs for the characters. They were actually our real hair. My wig, but not Philippe's wig. Philippe's real hair. So yes, all that's good. Do you have a favourite scene of Philippe? I have many favourite scenes. I love, in season 1, I love the scene between myself and Louis. who, when I walk in with when I'm sort of in the corset and slam my shoes down, that's episode 2, I think. And season two, there's one scene that I do in the ballroom salon where Philippe gets given some information, and he has to sort of lie to the Chevalier and continue walking and then meet Louis. It's like 3 different bits, 3 different versions of Philippe in like a 10-second period. And I have to be very like this, and then drop it, and then smart. Good acting technique, basically. Good acting requirement. And then in season 3, I love the scene between myself and Evan, plays the Chevalier, on the bed, where he's sort of telling me that he's in love with a woman, and Philippe is off on his man in the iron mask sort of hunt. This is a really quiet scene, because usually Philippe and Chevalier scenes are usually sort of full of throwing things and fighting and what have you, and it's just nice sometimes to just exist. Did you get embarrassed having to do the sex scenes with Evan? Of course not. No, not embarrassed at all. It's our job. It's our job to present these people, these characters, in the correct way. So no, not at all embarrassed. Absolutely not. If season 4 ever comes out, is there a hairstyle in Philippe you'd like to try? No. No. It'll just be just his hair. His hair was great. Hello. Oh, there's questions. You figured it out. Great. Vanai Gabriel, will we get Joe Sheridan in season 2? Yes, we will. Of course we will. Of course we'll get Joe. Joe, unfortunately, couldn't do it, scheduling stuff, and he was really busy at doing stuff. I think he was doing a film or in the theatre. We tried to get him. We ended up getting Ty, which I think is a worthy replacement. But yes, Joe Sheridan, absolutely, for season 2. What else have we got? What was the most challenging part of filming for you? Playing Philippe. He was complex, and at the time, I didn't think that I could actually achieve the complexity of him. So it kept me up for many nights, and I lost many nights of sleep trying to make sure that I portrayed this character in the right way. Someone's actually asked, do you actually like George Blagden? Do you know what? I really do. I like George a lot. He's great and wonderful, and we connected obviously during the show, playing brothers, and then we were a bit distant from each other through just doing different jobs and different lifestyles and different things. But having done this podcast and stuff like that, we have reconnected, and I love him even more than I did when I was on set. Don't tell him that, though. Don't tell him that. How did you find doing the live podcast, says Outlander? I felt Noemi brought the chaos you normally do. So, when we did the live podcast, initially on paper, you think it's going to work very well. And you just hope that people embrace the madness of it. What Noemi brought was the madness. So yeah, it was great. You just hope that people that have paid money to help and to join the podcast, to watch it live, enjoy it, because people can listen to the podcast for free. People can watch it on Patreon. So if you guys are watching now, you can help conversations on Patreon. But yeah, it's an amazing feeling for me and George and Nikki who started this, to be able to sort of reward the fans. It's also really stressful, and also the time difference of trying to accommodate every time zone and trying to find a sweet spot where Noemi, George, myself, Nikki can all do it, and the fans can join. The most fans can join. There are some fans that can't, and you realise when you log off, it's like, for me, it was like 11:15, and I'm an old man now. I go to bed at 9, so that was a bit of a surprise. Historic Ali asked, are you due to see Evan soon? No, I'm not. How dare you? No, I've already seen Evan. I saw Evan this year. I only see Evan once a year, because once is enough. Here we go. Are you able to speak French? Bowie. That's all you're getting. This isn't Duolingo. This is Conversations. A favourite blooper from Jojo Loves Flower. Season 3, they actually released the bloopers. I love, there is an amazing blooper of Ty, plays Fabian. He comes into the war room and he slams the door or something. And the whole glass candelabra chandelier thing drops and smashes. And it was real glass and it smashed everywhere and you can hear him go, no, 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 no. That was funny because, you know, chaos on set is always funny. Here we go. Did you have an intimacy coordinator or is that new? Haha! We didn't have an intimacy coordinator and we probably should have. Not that France probably would have, I don't know if in French television that they must do now. But back then, 2014, 15, 16, it was just a word that was never heard of, intimacy coordinator. We should have, to protect everyone on set, all the crew, producers, the actors. It's a misstep because we can look back now with intimacy coordinators on set who obviously protect everyone and walk through all those sexual scenes. And they protect everyone. Protect the director, they protect the writer, they protect everyone because it's very much broken down. Remember, the show was 11 years ago and it was just a different time. We look back, you know, and there are regrets and missteps, but, you know, we have to remember that it was of its time. Very much of its time. Let's try and get some conversations. People are asking about other things and I'm not about it. Today we talk about the podcast and that's it. Okay, there's some... Just wanted you to know that I finally got into the drama university and you're still the kind of the person I'm looking up to since we both have ADHD. We do both have ADHD. High five to that. How did I land the role? Through an audition process. I was currently playing... Well, I was playing Malcolm in Macbeth. And we were about to go to New York on Broadway. And I came in to audition. And I was about to fly. I was literally had a whole suitcase with me. I was about to fly to New York. I auditioned and left to go to New York. And my agent phoned me about 2 weeks later and said, "You've got the part in Versailles." And I was like, wow. When do I start? And she's like, the minute you finish in New York. And I was like, great. And then I met Jaleel, who is the first block director. He was actually in New York. And we met up for a coffee and talked about the role. And Bob's your uncle, as they say. More questions coming in. What advice would I have for a young screenwriter or director? Well, screenwriter and directors, they're different, unless you're writing and directing your own work. For a director, cast well. Cast people who you trust and allow those actors to bring their instinctual creativity. There's no point casting someone and saying no to them all the time. For writers, it's about... being driven and determined and having a focus to actually write it. I'm writing a feature at the moment, a feature film. It's taking forever because I just don't have the mental patience to sit down and continue writing it. Even though I'm doing it in chunks, I'm doing sort of 20 pages and 20 pages and I've got great ideas. It's, you know, it takes a lot of practice to be able to sit and just spend a good chunk of hours writing away. Mundo Vlahos, what about the corset? Do you like it? So, I absolutely hated the corset. I did. I don't have boobs, and the corset helps. Well, it doesn't help. I'm sure it doesn't help, but the whole point of it is to make everything sort of, you know, curvaceous and stuff. And so they had to build me a corset for a man that I would be able to sort of untie with the dress and Yeah, it was just a pain. It was a pain. It was a faff. 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 Was there a scene written for Philippe that you performed but was dead set against it? No, there wasn't. I never said no. I was never going to do a scene ever. No, never. Never gone. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not that sort of actor. But there were scenes that were written, like on paper, and then when you get to set, whatever's written on paper, the only thing that remains is the dialogue. Maybe the location's changed, or the situation's changed, or the director has completely interpreted it in a different way to what I have or what the other actors have. That happened a lot on Versailles. And I think that's down to the language barrier. I think we had a lot of, especially in season 1 and 2, we had a lot of European directors or French Canadian directors, and their interpretation of an English script sometimes was not the interpretation of the actors. So that was really tricky. Sometimes you turn up and go, why are we not doing the thing that's written? And they go, oh, we don't need that. And you're like, that's the whole point of the scene. I guess sometimes British actors with British writers like David and Simon, we would understand the nuances and the subtleties of the writing where sometimes the European directors wouldn't. And it got better. Season 2, and especially into season 3, we got some amazing directors that were English or British and just knew that the writing was good enough that we didn't have to change anything. When Nancy, well, y'all do a fabulous job. Thank you very much. More questions coming in. What other characters from Versailles would you like to play? I would like to play... I'd love to play Louvois. Just because that'd be fun, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be fun to play Louvois? I'm trying to scroll through the questions. If you could write a future episode of Versailles, what aspect of Louis and Philippe would you like to explore? Do you know what? Just because of how Philippe died, I don't know if you guys know the true historical story about Philippe, but Philippe was at a party and Louis and Philippe ended up having an argument. Philippe ended up having a heart attack, but didn't want to die at Versailles and ended up riding to Saint-Cloud and died at Saint-Cloud in the Chevalier's arms. Isn't that great? Horrible, but great. So I'd love to write something like that. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Seeing Philippe have a heart attack because of an argument with Louis. Very macabre, Alex. Very macabre indeed. Tap a question to answer. Oh, I've done that. Sorry, I'm just reading it now. Were you starstruck by any actors? Did you know any of them previously or know of them? Was I starstruck by anyone? Pip Torrens, I was starstruck with a little bit. Just because he's one of those people that just continuously works. So Pip, who played Cassell, I was very much starstruck with him. It was kind of great that I was like that he was doing this show, really. Talking about season 3. How many people in season 3 that I was starstruck with? I don't really know. I can't really remember those guest stars. No, Pip. We'll go with Pip. Pip's a good answer. I keep knocking out this damn cable. Apologies, everyone. How are we all? Sorry, I'm being very selfish. Are we all good? So, just for a public service announcement, a PSA, we are going to start recording season 2 of Conversations very, very soon. We're trying to get the guests lined up. It's proving trickier than season 1. Some people are unavailable. Some people don't want to do it. Some people do. So, we've got, there's the classics. We're obviously going to get Evan back. We're obviously going to get Ty back. We're obviously going to get Maddie back. We're obviously going to get Anna Brewster back. The heart and soul of Versailles. But some people, the people that turn up in season 2 and then disappear, we really want those people, you know. So we're just reaching out to them, trying to get them signed up for Conversations season 2. Can you please get Pip back, Vicky Murdoch? Yeah, of course. Why not? We loved having Pip on the show. I don't think we actually talked much about Versailles. We ended up talking about other things. George Webster, of course. George Webster's obviously going to be doing the podcast, whether he likes it or not. Henriette and Moncourt, says Darling Claire. Well, we've had Henriette on the show. We've had Noemi, so we're not getting Noemi. Noemi's dead. No, Henriette is dead. Noemi's not dead. And Moncourt was only in season 1. And we did reach out to Anatole. And Anatole never got back to us because it's Anatole, hello, my babies. Who would you like to see in season 2? Tell me. Oh, see, come in. Come in. Oh, who's this? Who's that? Have a look at the camera. You look so beautiful. You on Instagram Live? You on Instagram look? Who's that? Thank you. Thank you so much. Go see Mum. Go see Mum. Well, that was a bonus for you. Can you close the door, please? Thank you so much. Just shouting at my assistant. I pay you too much money to not close the door. That was my wife. I'm in so much trouble later. Yeah, that was Artemis. She will not be doing the podcast because she will just be licking the microphone. Ooh, news. I have news for you. I have a new microphone and microphone stand ready for Conversations. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Look how beautiful. Hello. Beyond the new. You know what I mean? Like, just see, season 2 is getting a massive upgrade. A massive upgrade. Would we get Catherine Walker on? Of course we'd get Catherine Walker on. Catherine Walker, a phenomenal actress. But I do think Catherine Walker's amazing is when she's amazing is season 3. Season 3 is when she becomes Madame Scarron. Let's have a look more down in these questions. Do you think you would play Philippe differently now that you're a bit older and wiser? That's a great question. 100% I probably would. Well, I don't think I'd play him any differently. But I do think that I would be better at playing him emotionally myself. I wouldn't be so sort of caught up and full of trauma and having to get therapy now. Also, I just don't look young enough, you know? I don't. Got grey hairs and anyway, that's not the point, Alex. It's not the point. Vlanderal, you mentioned doing an in-person podcast recording event someday. Is that a silly question? It is. It's whether the fans want it. Obviously, we don't have the annual Versailles convention, Me and My Idols, anymore, which is a shame. Hence why we're doing the podcast, to keep the love for Versailles very much alive. The plan would have been, still is, kind of, whether you guys think it's a good idea or not, is to do an in-person live recording of the podcast of 2 episodes where the audience can ask questions and we can stop and start the episode and watch it live while me and George do the recording. In person somewhere. Probably Paris or London, I don't know. I think people would definitely want to reunite for that. I would hope so too. Do you know what? If you think that's a good idea, drop some hearts in the comments. Go. I want to see hearts. Drop those hearts now. I'm gonna put a heart in just so you guys know what it's like. It looks like this. That looks like a heart. There we go. Give me some hearts. Yes. Give me those hearts. I'm so greedy. So greedy. Also, still don't quite really understand what's going on. Okay, so Would you ever do a panel of the Canadian cast members on season 2 of the podcast? That's a really good question. We've got Evan and Ty and who's the guy? Yeah, we've got this. I just completely forgot the person's name. We've got loads of people. Steve Cumin, of course. It's a bit weird though, isn't it, doing a very Canadian-centric podcast? I would want to do like a Welsh-eccentric podcast. It's just me. It's just me talking into the abyss. Jessica Clark, please. We are absolutely, definitely trying to get Princess Palatine, Jessica Clark, on the show. That's the dream, right? Henriette's gone. New wife, Jessica Clark. Also, Jessica Clark is an amazing actress, amazing person. You've been sending her lots of love on this, and she'd be great. She would be great. Let's go back into the questions. Kelly says, I know you really grew as a person starting season 1 to season 3. Was this relating to your acting skills or your personal growth, or both? Everything. I thought when I was in drama school, when I was between 18 and 21, 18 and 21, I was not 8 when I went to drama school. When I was 18 to 21, I really thought I grew as a person. But actually on Versailles, I grew as an actor, and I was going through some stuff. Just going through being a lead and dealing with understanding my mental health at the time, not being supported in my mental health. Living away from home, playing a big part, doing the press, lots of things, going through a breakup. I went through a 5.5-year relationship breakup while I was filming, so that was tough, and going into season 3 as a single guy, there's just loads of stuff going on, loads and loads. So yeah, it was, and then also learning about how I can leave Philippe at the door. When I finish the work at the end of the day and close the door. Really important for me to be able to leave Philippe there, and I didn't really understand the importance of that until season 3, probably. Lizzie Brochere, of course we want to get Lizzie Brochere on. Lizzie, Harry Hatton Patton, which is Suzanne Clement, amazing people. Of course we want to get them on. Hello, greetings from Peru. Miss you, Mr. Versailles Cons. Absolutely do, Mr. Versailles Cons. It was a great refresh of history, different from the end of the monarchy. Yep, great. All these things are wonderful. Okay. What else have we got? What was the director/writer's approach to all the actors' different natural accents? Well, we addressed that on the podcast. Was that the scripts were in English, which means that they're speaking in French. So it was what they call now transatlantic. The idea that as long as you can understand them, people do have regional accents. They asked for myself and George specifically to do RP, which is received pronunciation. But apart from that, we try to avoid it sounding very, very French. French-English, Franglish, and try to get it as sort of close to the middle as possible with everyone. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it didn't. I remember specifically the man who played our father in season 3, the man in the Iron Mask. His English was not great, and that really proved tricky for everyone. I think he had to go and do some ADR for it, because just to clean it up, because it was very thick French. Someone just said Versailles was a kind of soft porn. Okay. Someone's asked, if my little son wanted to be an actor, would you advise him to go in for it, or maybe explore other talents or interests? Listen, right now he's teething. I'll think about that much later on. Right now, my worry is sleeping, and the fact that these two have come through and these two are coming through. The idea that if he ever wants to be an actor, right now, I'll be like, go for it, buddy. Right now, you're just teething. Just a bit curious, what does the texture of the clothes feel like? The clothes in Versailles? I feel like clothes. Oi, oi, oi. Oi, oi, oi. Would I have changed anything in season 3 story direction? Yes, I would have. I would have... Would I have? I really love season 3, personally. Season 3 is one of my favourite seasons. Season 1 is, like, perfect, I think. And I don't like season 2, but I know a lot of the fans love season 2, and I love season 3. I love season 3 for personal reasons because I got to leave the studio and go out on location and also not work with anyone. Philippe got to be a lone ranger for 5 episodes, and I was like, great, I get to work with guest actors rather than doing the same scenes every time. Why change anything in season 3? I fought a lot in season 3 with the writers and the producers especially, because I didn't like sometimes how cowardly they were about certain things. And me and Evan had to write the end scene of, Philippe and the Chevalier saying, coming together and saying that they love each other because the writers couldn't write it. So there was a lot of creative differences in season 3. If you think about where season 1 started, which was with Simon Mirren and David Wollstonecraft creating and writing the show and writing every episode, by the time we got to the last block of season 3, completely different writing team. So there was no real continuity, in my opinion. Hi. Could everyone ride horses? Everyone seemed fantastic riders. Thank you, Annette. We got sort of a crash course in horse riding. I had learned horse riding while I was filming Merlin. I was terrible at it. So when I came to do Versailles, I knew that I needed to look really good because Philippe was going to go into war and do lots of horse stuff. And even in season 1, I found it really tricky because I was a bit scared. But between season 1 and season 2, I went to the place where they teach the horse riding, and I spent a good 10 days with my horse from the season, from filming Bolero, and I spent 10 days just riding that horse every day. So when I turned up for season 2, I was a pro. I loved the horses. My dream is to buy one of those horses, one of those retired film horses one day. Just returned to the US from my first visit to Paris, and I visited Versailles. How much of the show was filmed on location there? Season 1, I would say 20%. Season 2, I would say 35%. And then in season 3, I would say 50%. Because Versailles, in season 1, as we believe, it's not the actual location. So the further we got on in the show, the more we could actually film in Versailles, the more that Louis built. Were the wolves in season 1 wild wolves or trained? They were terrible. They were not good actors. They couldn't growl on cue. They were very... I never got to see them. I think they were actually, funny enough, I think they shot some of those wolves in Canada on CGI on a green screen, because the wolves we had in France just weren't very wolvy. Like that. Right, let's go. What was your favourite thing about Philippe's dynamic with his wife, Princess Palatine? Well, from having Henriette, who was very much this ingenue, innocent person that was also sleeping with Louis, who had like this hold on Philippe. Getting to work with Jessica Clarke and getting to work with, getting Philippe to have the dynamic with Princess Palatine was so brilliant because it was such a breath of fresh air. Comedy, light-heartedness. The first time we ever see Princess Palatine, she's having a pee on the side of the road. And she wears this tiny little hat. Just nice to get a breath of fresh air in the show. And also Jessica Clarke, so funny, so wonderful. It was a joy to work with her. It was nice to turn every set. And also we just got along. And then we ended up nicknaming ourselves the Curl Sandwich. So the Curl Sandwich was myself, Philippe in the middle, and then Evan and Jessica, well, Chevalier and Princess Palatine, with the blonde curls on the side. We looked like a curl sandwich. Must be nice to pull over and ming on the road. Yes, well done, darling. That's a good quote. I'm watching in a library corner using their free Wi-Fi. Go you. Go you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the last couple of questions. Debbie is waving from Dallas. Hi, Debbie from Dallas. Hope you're well. When was the last time you watched yourself on Versailles? Are you comfortable you're acting without being too judgmental? Well, I have to watch myself for the rewatches. From when me and George do the work on Conversations, I have to rewatch the episode. So does George, so does Nikki, our producer, because we have to give notes and compile notes so that we can lead our guests down a journey of the episode. So the last time I watched Versailles, season 10, episode 10, season 1, was, a couple of months ago, I guess. We're about to go back into watching season 2, episode 1. So yeah, rewatching it with a podcast eye, I get to watch everyone else's performances, and I'm watching for cinematography, I'm watching for storylines, I'm watching for good lines of dialogue, I'm watching for plot holes, I'm watching it rather than it being a sort of self-centered, like, am I any good? I'm watching it for you guys. I'm watching it so that you guys get the best out of the podcast. So watching it with a different view. But do I like watching myself, or am I judgmental? I don't mind watching myself because I feel like I learn from myself. I go, oh, I thought I was doing this face, but actually I was doing this face. You see what I mean? 6 months later, I think I'm being like, hey, but actually I'm like, hey. So it's good to know. Do I enjoy watching George's performance? Yes, I do. I really do. I feel like at the time when it came out, George was heavily criticised by a lot of people because people had a view of Louis. And Louis XIV, the French public, the French press, the British public, the British press. And I feel like George got a little bit of a hard run at it. But now watching it, I'm amazed by some of the stuff that he does. Especially season 1, he's great. And I know by the time we get to season 3, I feel like we're both really in our stride. So yes, I feel like I should stop. Does it feel like it's been enough? Do you feel like it's been enough? I feel like it's been enough. I've shown you my microphone. I've told you that we're going to start recording season 2. I've loved having you all here. But I feel like we're done. I feel like we're done. Okay, so listen, thank you so much for joining us. If you are not already, please subscribe to our Patreon channel. Go to Patreon, www.patreon.com, go into the search bar and type in Conversations. And if you can support us in any way, shape or form, we'd really appreciate it. Episode 1 of season 2 will be coming out soon. There are obviously all the free episodes available on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Podbean. Everything is available on all streaming platforms. Myself and George are back for season 2. Nikki, our wonderful producer, is also back for season 2. Who knows what sort of guests we're going to get. But I feel like this is naturally coming to an end. I love you all. Versailles forever. You can screen grab this, people. Screen grab this. Ready? No way! What just happened? Can I do that? Guys, what happens if I do that? Does that happen as well? No way! You just couldn't make it up. What happens if I do this? Does that make it sad? No, it doesn't. All right, guys, this has been Totemosh. And I love you all very much. Thank you to the Patreon subscribers. Thank you to the fans. Thank you for listening. We hit huge download streams, and please tune in for season 2. And if I can, in my own special way, if I can, I will try and get George to do one of these. He'll probably say no, but I'll try and get him to do it. All right, to a bit.